Hello, good morning, and welcome to another look at what is ahead this week and, of course, today in the transfer window. This is a big week for the window, absolutely for sure. It's been building up to this point for a number of deals, and it's starting to get really exciting. We're going to talk Tottenham, Rangers, Chelsea. We'll talk Newcastle as well, bit of Manchester United too, and Everton perhaps as well. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos as we come across the transfer window. Stay on top with us. Make sure you hear what's going on. You can follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. Like I said, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Now, let's crack on. Let's start with Harry Kane, shall we? Because his future has been talked about a lot. Of course, in the last year of his deal, Tottenham have offered him a new one, but he doesn't look too keen to sign that. Why? Well, he does have interest from elsewhere. Bayern Munich, of course, really want him. They've had one deal rejected around the £80 million mark. They're going to come back in again. Harry Kane wants this move. He has said to Bayern Munich he would like to go. So Bayern Munich are expecting that if they come back, they'll be able to convince Spurs to sell their star man. But of course, Daniel Levy wants near that £100 million mark, doesn't he? You wonder if it gets to 90 and they start adding a little bit of add-ons here and there, whether that will convince Levy. I'm still unconvinced it will convince him, because of course the longer it's left, the less time they have to get in a replacement as well. And Harry Kane guarantees them 30 goals, 25, 30 goals a season, doesn't he? So you're losing that guarantee of goals when you sell Harry Kane, which of course is a big deal, but certainly one to watch. Look out for Lautaro Martinez if Harry Kane does go. Here, he could become a key player in all of this as well as a replacement. PSG still circling around Harry Kane. They certainly would be keen also. So this certainly isn't over. The possibility of Harry Kane leaving Spurs this summer, yes, it's still absolutely there, but we should see what happens this week. It's going to be a big week. Bayern Munich are going to come back in, and this will be a big week in the future of Harry Kane and Tottenham Hotspur. Let's move on to Newcastle. There's been some talks of Kvaratskhelia being bid for by Newcastle United. My understanding is those reports are a little bit wide of the mark. Certainly a player that they've had interest in, but I don't think there's advanced talks going on at this point. Certainly not what I've heard. Maybe someone's got the scoop of the century, and if they do, congratulations. But Newcastle still need to sell a number of players before they do another deal like that in that ilk. Could one of those be Allan St-Maximin? Well, St-Maximin obviously has been continuously posting. Newcastle fans who follow him would have seen he's continually posting about being home, back in training, back at Newcastle United's training centre. And he's a player that has got a lot of interest in him, a player that they could sell, a player that the club would consider selling to raise funds for, not raise funds, but allow them to move for another player for that FFP space and all these other things. They do have a decent FFP space, but they're not wanting to blow it all in one transfer window. They don't want to have to be playing catch-up and being in a position where they're stringent and moving forward. So it's smart business by Newcastle. It's smart looking ahead by Newcastle United, because they do have a squad that got them into the Champions League, remember? So it's not that bad a squad as it stands. But Saudi clubs like Allan St-Maximin, they're probably going to come in for him. It will take a decent bid to get rid of him. But what I want to know from Newcastle fans is, would you like to sell Allan St-Maximin? Is that a player you'd be happy to sell to bring in some fresh blood? There's still massive interest in Harvey Barnes. Those clubs have been talking, Leicester and Newcastle, and I still expect more movement there as well. So would you be happy to see St-Maximin go? Interest in Europe in him as well as Saudi. So certainly a player to watch over the coming weeks is Allan St-Maximin. Look out as well for Manchester United now. They've also landed Andre Onana. We knew this about a week ago. Obviously, it's come out that he's now signed, but we knew this about a week ago that he was going to. It was all but a done deal anyway, and he will be their number one goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. But now they will move for Rasmus Hojlund at Atalanta, the striker who has said he wants to move to Manchester United. Yes, he's had interest from Chelsea and others, but Manchester United is his choice. That's where he wants to go. Manchester United will now push for him. That's the direction of travel they are now looking at. So they want him as their new man up front. Atalanta holding out for a big amount of money for him. They do value him around that £80 million mark. Manchester United probably going to try and get him for around the £60 to £70 million mark. And this will be a really interesting couple of weeks of negotiations for a very exciting, very talented young striker. Not Haaland by any stretch of the imagination, but on his way to being just as good as. If you look at his stats, his goals for his country and club have been mightily impressive. and he's Manchester United's next target. He's the man Manchester United are going to go for up front, and that'll happen in the next couple of weeks. So big changes at Manchester United. They could go for Sofian Amrabat as well at Fiorentina, another one to keep an eye out there too. So some big names coming into the football club for sure. Let's talk about Everton and Wilfried Gnonto. My understanding there is they've always had interest in Wilfried Gnonto. I've reported previously. I've said in previous videos it's a really hard deal to do, not quite as easy as it's made out to be, although they are in talks with Leeds. I don't think it's a done deal yet. I think there's still work to be done there. I know some people are reporting it as a done deal. I think there's still work to be done there, but we'll wait and see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm recording this at 7:50 in the morning on Monday morning, so we'll wait and see what happens by Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. But it's certainly a player that they want, that they like, but not an easy deal to do. Leeds certainly are not going to let him go for nothing either. So a lot of work to do there perhaps, but one that is moving perhaps in the right direction for Everton. So we'll wait and see what happens over the next 48 hours on that front. Let's talk about Rangers. Rangers, of course, want to bring in Jose Cifuentes. Now that is a deal that they're looking to complete over the next couple of days, especially with the fact that LAFC's season is now set to be completed. That gives them time to move now and talk with the clubs. We knew that this was a deal that was going to be pushed on again as we came to the end of July, beginning of August. That is certainly what is going to happen now. They want Cifuentes in now. This is a player that has a contract that expires in December this year, but they'd rather he was in now so that he's bedded into the squad, part of the squad, and working with Michael Beale as early as possible. Certainly a signing that really excites Rangers fans. I think a signing that would be a top signing for Glasgow Rangers, wanted by a number of clubs around Europe for a long time, and they're in the brink of landing him. They will have further talks now with LAFC to try and do that deal, to negotiate that early release clause for him and bring him to Glasgow. Danilo also not yet dead in the water, certainly a player that they're going to go back for, and have had some conversations about since that rejected bid. Certainly, again, another one to watch. I think outgoings will dictate a lot of that. They have got players who are close to the exit door. We know that Kolak has now joined Parma. Fashion Sakala set to leave or on the brink of as well. Look at Scott Wright's future, Glenn Kamara's future. So a number of players also set to leave, which will help them be able to bring in funds to bring in some new men as well. So a big week ahead in the transfer window. A lot more to come. It's picking up pace. Like I said, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.